Hello, today we're going to look at Module 3 Project Linux Shell Scripts. Scripts are small independent programs that can be run at will when you want to call them or launch them. You can use the cron command, which we'll see next week, to run them at a certain time. So first I'm going to download my PowerPoint template and get that open and ready for my answers and screenshots. Okay, next I'm going to click here in the top sentence, Linux Shell Script, and that will launch our lab. Okay, this next part we want to start to get a little more familiar with. It should start to get routine as we're doing this each week. We click Start here. Wait for the InfoSec Learning computer to come up. Once the computer comes up, we click on it to launch the InfoSec Learning environment. And I really want to see the bottom of my screen, make sure I can see that, so I put it where I can see it. And then I click up here on Send Control-Alt-Delete. I want to log in as student with the password of student. Okay, we'll now double click on the Hyper-V Manager. Start the DHCP server first by double clicking on it, and then we click Start. Okay, so once that comes up, I'm going to move it up here where I can see all the corners of the windows and I can see everything. I'm going to type student for my password again, and it does not show, so just type it and hit enter. Okay, once we do that, we're going to minimize this window and do the same thing for the Ubuntu server and double click it. Click Start and wait for it to come up. Okay, once that comes up, we'll click here on Student. And then we type in student as the password and hit enter. Okay, we are now on number 9, and I'm going to move my directions over a little bit. There we go. We want to open our terminal window, and you can right click and open terminal, or you can click over here and it launches a terminal window. And again, then I want to drag this up here so I can see all of my window. Okay, it says type CD tilde, but I can look here and see that the tilde is already there, so I can do my PWD and verify that I'm at my home student directory. Okay, we're going to be using an editor. The name of the editor is called Nano. So we're going to nano to-do list. So we call the name of the editor, which is Nano, and give it a file name that we want to edit. In this case, to-do list is our file, and it's going to create that file and allow us to edit it. So now we're in the editor called Nano, and you can see here is our file name, and we are logged in as student. This is our home directory on the Ubuntu server. You can see the name and the version number of the package that we're running. Okay, so now we want to type in the information that's shown here. It is hard to see. You can actually double click here and bring up those windows if you need to. Make them bigger so you can see them a little bit better. But it says echo on our first line, then space, quotes, and then enter. Today's to-do-list. Then in parentheses, press enter to complete. All right, so this is a line that we're sending to the user. That's what the echo command does for us, is prints that information to the screen. All right, and then it's going to sit there and do a read text. So it's going to read what we type in until you hit enter. And it's going to store that in the variable called text. And then we're going to send out another message. You entered, and the $ text. Now what that does is it says give me the value of the variable text. Then we're going to take the date command and use the double greater than meta characters to redirect that information to a file called my to-do list. All right, so we have this program that runs that's called to-do list, and it lets us enter a to-do list. Here we're going to have a file that's called my to-do list, and I'm going to enter the to-do list into my to-do list, into my to-do list. And I know that didn't make a lot of sense, but we're going to do it here, and then it'll make a little bit more sense. All right, so that puts date out to the file my to-do list, and then echo today's to-do-list -- and then we put out the value of the variable text. And then we're sending that, we're using those redirect commands and sending that to the file called my to-do list. Okay, and then we're sending out a empty set of quotes and redirecting that to my to-do list as well. Okay. Once we finish typing that in, you want to hit Control-X to exit, Y to save it, and enter to accept to-do list as the name of the file. Okay, now I'm back to where I started at Nano to-do list. And I'm on number 10. Number number 10 asks me to do a long listing, ls-l of to-do list. And you can see here that my permissions are read, write, no execute, read, write, no execute, read, no write, or execute. So nobody has the right to execute this file from just being able to run it using the file name. We're going to look here at how we can run the file to test it using the bash shell. So in number 11, they asked me to execute the script using the bash shell by typing bash to do list. Okay, and I must have missed something at the end of my file. Let me go back to my Nano. And check my information. Oh, I did. I missed a set of, and you have to use the arrow keys. Remember to go back and forth. So I missed my quotes at the end of that line, and that's why it was having trouble there. In fact, it was supposed to be, there we go. Then read text. You entered, and since I'm here correcting things, I'm going to make that a capital Y. But see how easy it was for me to come back here and make my corrections. Then I'll do my Control X to exit, Y to save, and Enter to accept to-do list as the name of the file. Okay, now I'm going to do the bash again. And there we go. Enter today's to-do list. And it tells me to enter 1 family, 2 work, 3 school, and hit enter. They want me to execute it again in number 13, so I just call the command again, bash to-do list, and then I enter 1 is school, period, 2 is family, 3 is work. Okay, so I put in 2 different to-do lists for myself for today, right? So when I do the cat, my to-do list with an S, you see both of the to-do lists that I had entered. Okay, the empty quotes gives me a space in between the 2 files, or at the end of one, getting into the next one. You can see how it put the date in at the top for the first line, and then it printed the first to-do list with family. Then it pulls the date again and puts in the second to-do list with school, family, and work. Okay, open the PowerPoint. We're going to answer 3 questions. The file permissions of the script, and what we can do is come over here and look up here. The file permission is, and I'm going to take my snipping tool and use that to grab the command and the answer, and I can paste that right here to use. So the owner has read and write permissions. Group has read and write permissions. And then others have just read permissions. And I can see that right here. RW dash, read, write, no execute. Read, write, no execute. Read, no write, no execute. Okay, what's the name of the variable in the script? And the hint I'll give is it's after the read command. The read command pulls in the text from the file. Alright, it's not let me do it that way, let me do it this way. So if we come back to where it showed us what to type in, if we look after read, our variable name is text. Okay, we use several of the redirect commands here. So we had the date, and we did the redirection from the date to the file My To-Do List. And then we redirected the to-do list to My To-Do List. And then we redirected out just a blank line to My To-Do List. So that was our 3 lines that we wrote out to that file every time we called this file To-Do List. Okay. So our redirect command is the greater than sign, and it takes the output of what is on the left and redirects it to the right hand side. Whether that is it can be a variable, it can be a file, it could be a directory. There's a number of things that could go there that we could direct it to. Okay. Alright, so we used the live lesson here and module 3 lessons. And I looked up today how to document those. We need to go over that in class next week. Alright, let's keep going. We want to learn how to change the file permissions, because right now nobody can execute it and we need to fix that. So we're going to change the permissions shortly. Let's see. Okay, so we got to here. We're done with that one and we're on to the next page. Alright, I'm going to type in clear to clear the screen. And I can see that I'm at my home student directory, but I'll do pwd to verify. The bash to-do list command calls the bash executable, the runnable file itself. So we weren't actually running it. We were using bash to run it. Another way to execute it is to make the shell script executable and declare the hash bling or the shebang line. Alright, so this line specifies the path name to the shell that interprets the script. Alright, if this comes up, just ignore it. We're going to exit out of that. No worries. Okay, so I want to nano or change. I want to edit my to-do list. Okay, I'm going to hit enter. That'll bring it down one line and then arrow up and type hashtag exclamation point /bash, BASH, /bin, or no, my bad, bin, BIN is first, /bash. Okay, so we tell it we're making it executable there so it can interpret and execute the script directly. Right, so now we'll do the Control X to exit, Y to save, and enter to accept to-do list as the file name. All right. That brings us back to where we're at. Now we want to make the script executable. So we're going to chmod, not mod, to modify the privileges on it. I want to give myself all privileges. That's that 71111 for read, write, and execute. And then we're going to give groups read and execute, and we'll give others read and execute as well. And you're like, how do you do that off the top of your head? Because once you've been doing it for a while, it just sticks. Read, write, execute. You've got only a few possibilities. You got a 1 is the execute only. 2 would be write only. And 4 would be read only, and you put the 3 of them together and you got 7, which is all of them. Okay, so we changed our permissions. Now we're going to call the file to run it. We do ./to-do list. The dot represents the current directory, and we're going from the root directory, the / and to-do list. Or from the current directory, one level, to-do list. Sorry, I said that wrong. It's not from the root. It's from our current directory. Okay, so we'll type in our 1 period work, 2 period family, 3 period school. Okay, we will echo our name here. Call the date command and take a screenshot of what we have so far here. Okay, I'm going to delete the box because it cuts stuff off if I don't, and then I'll put this here to show that we changed the file permissions. Okay, we'll click next here. Come to the next page. They want me to do my CD tilde. I'm pretty sure I'm already there, so I'll do my PWD just to verify, but yes, I'm at home student. Okay, path is an environment variable that contains a list of directories. When a command or a script is called without an absolute or relative path name, the shell searches the directories in the list for the executable file. So if the file's not found, then you get file not found or command not found, error message that's displayed. However, if we can add our path to the path, then it would work. All right, so what we want to do here is verify that it's currently not working. If I just try to type to-do list and get it to run, it comes back and says command not found. All right, so what we want to do is first let's look at what's in the current path variable, and that's all uppercase. And you'll see that home/student is not in here. So what we want to do is add to path, to the current path, or the value that's in path right there. And we're going to add to that /home/student. Okay, there's no space in there, and we hit enter. All right, I'm going to up arrow a couple times, get the echo back, and now I can see that in my path variable, I have just added home student into that path. Okay. All right, now we'll execute the script by typing to-do list. You have to spell it right. And this time it executes because it's now part of the path. And we're going to enter 1 is school, 2 is work, 3 is family, and hit enter. I'm going to echo my name. And the date. And take my second screenshot. Oops. To show the date. I type data instead. That's okay. I'll just get the screenshot. Make sure and delete the window here. And paste that in there. Okay. We're on to the next one. All right, that says right click in the Ubuntu window. We're going to open a second terminal. Open in terminal. All right, here comes number 2. We'll do CD space tilde to get back to our home student directory. All right, and we were just able to type to-do list over there, but if we type to-do list again, you're going to see we got command not found again. Well, why not? We added it to the path variable. Well, that was the path over there. To make it part of the permanent path variable, we have to modify a hidden file called bash.rc. And bash.rc runs every time we open a terminal window. So right now they want us to look at a listing of all the hidden bash files. Okay, and there's our files. So what we're going to do is, before we begin editing it, we're going to make a backup of it. So we're going to copy cp bash rc space bash rc old, and that renames or gives us a copy of that file so that we can edit it and not worry about messing it up. If we mess it up bad enough, we can always come back and get the old copy. All right. So now we'll edit that file. We'll do nano-rc, nano.bashrc. And we're going to arrow down to the very bottom. And we're going to type export space path equals $path, or the value of path, and we add to that /home/student. So we just added it to our permanent path. We're going to call this every time we open a new window, so it becomes part of the permanent path. Okay, we'll do Control X to exit. Yes, and enter. All right, to activate those changes, I'm going to type source.bashrc. I'm going to run my path variable. No, sorry, I got ahead of myself. They want us to open a third terminal window, so I'll right click over here and open in terminal. CD space tilde to get back to my home user directory, and I'll type to do list, and look at there, it runs. So we got 1 period family, 2 period school, 3 period work. All right, and we'll echo our full name. And the date. And what we want to show is both of these windows here, so we can see that I changed my bash file and was able to run it in the new window. Okay, that's my final screenshot. Let me drop that here. And again, that should show at least these 2 windows to show that we updated the .bashrc file and ran it. And then we were able to launch our to-do list over here in a separate window. I'm going to close out all of my files now. So I'll close out my Ubuntu server, click here, shut down, and I'll close it. Then I'll get my DHCP server and come over here and tell it to shut down. Can close this out, and then I'll press stop. Okay, that's the end of our project. Thank you very much.